Hi everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism, narcissistic relationships, antagonism, toxic stuff, call it what you will. There's only one thing we know about narcissistic and toxic relationships is that you can't win. Well, let me give you a little further confirmation because through a series of unfortunate events, it became clear to me how much we can't win. So what does that look like? So I never read my comments anywhere, especially on these YouTube videos. I don't. People are so devastatingly cruel and mean and frightening that I don't have the bandwidth or the nervous system to just read the comments uncensored. I have a magnificent team who kindly cleans it up, shows me the comments that may be constructive feedback or suggestions, show me the ones that show the work is making a difference, or the ones that just aren't mean. But I am shocked. Forget even just comments. The emails people will send me. I'm like, what? Well, I didn't follow my own rule the other day, and I read some comments on an article. Ouch. But I'm glad I did, because once I steeled myself for how awful people are, I noticed an interesting but troubling trend. So the article they were commenting on was one where I alluded to the idea that we spend so much time encouraging people to toss clutter and junk in their house, but don't give them permission to distance or disengage from toxic people in their lives. Seems reasonable, right? Seems reasonable enough to me. I think that if you put more time into sort of setting boundaries and cleaning out a closet, I think ultimately that would be a better payout. But interestingly, the angry commenters, I should say, took two different stands. The first group, they attacked me and the people who they think cannot deal with difficult or toxic people. They called people who can't deal with them too sensitive. So basically, if a person can't put up with a narcissistic, antagonistic, or emotionally abusive person, then they're being labeled by this one group as being too sensitive. And any of you who have been in a long-term narcissistic relationship, you've been gaslighted repeatedly and told you are too sensitive. You're too sensitive for having any form of meaningful emotional reaction to being invalidated, lied to, betrayed, manipulated, raged at, or gaslighted. And just so you know, the internet mob largely supports that stand. People who have reactions to toxic people are too sensitive. Now, the second stand they take is something to the effect of, some people just have sharp elbows and everyone else just needs to learn to deal with them. The upthrust of these comments was that this idea that there's some people out there that just have different styles. So what if they're difficult, or respect your elders, or maybe they have their reasons for being like that, on and on, basically justifying the behavior of the toxic people while simultaneously shaming the people who are reacting to them. And so the whole gist there was, let your family members who are awful and difficult and mean and manipulative just keep doing what they are doing. And then, as the cherry on top, you as a therapist, Dr. Ramani, are an unempathic B word for even suggesting that people should disengage. And my favorite then is that they go on to shame me and tell me I'm a bad therapist and that I should be supportive of the people with these so-called sharp elbows, even if they're hurting other people. I'm not going to do that. So these two clusters of comments, and there were a lot of comments like that. Initially, I felt quite despondent. But then I thought about it, and it confirmed to me why so many people are having difficulty healing. Because those comments showed me that many, many people in the world at large believe, number one, that they believe that some people are narcissistic and antagonistic, and we're just supposed to get over it and not have any reaction to it, or we're sensitive. Number two, they believe that people who call out the narcissistic people and antagonistic people and tell other people or give themselves permission to disengage are unempathic, mean, cruel, unsupportive, and cold. Number three, the narcissistic and toxic and antagonistic people don't have to change their behavior and can keep on doing what they're doing because somehow we should be able to put up with their BS unquestioningly because, well, apparently just because. I shook my head Then I got a headache, and I really saw that this all remains a huge barrier to healing. Listen, I've been through this myself, so to be shamed for disengaging, and on top of that, teaching people to disengage, it affects me, which of course, those people would tell me I need to get a thicker skin and force myself to get along with others. No, the narcissistic people don't have to have empathy. All of us need to be better at dealing with them. And that's the problem, isn't it? The more we force ourselves to get along with people who manipulate and gaslight and devalue and invalidate, the more we push down our own emotions, the more we have to deny our own emotions. The more we do that, the greater the toll it takes on us. So it seems that a decent proportion of the internet mob views the empathic and decent people among us to basically be like sacrifices for the narcissistic people, that the survivors are somehow disposable. There's somehow no interest in the mental health and intrapsychic harm to the people who have and have had to endure these relationships, but rather just figure it out, but don't be mean to those people with their sharp elbows. To keep pushing down our emotions, to force ourselves into unpleasant interactions, well, that cuts us off from our authenticity. The more we engage with the narcissistic folks, the more we have to disengage from our true selves. Listen, maybe I should keep reading the comments because that was an ugly 30-minute eye-opener for me, though the migraine and the sort of blah mood I had afterwards probably weren't worth it. All I know is that in just one sweep of a few hundred comments, my heart sank. And I saw what I already know and knew, and what so many of you are living through. That people would rather enable antagonistic and narcissistic people than face up to the truth. And that's not about these enablers being nice people. Oh, let's be nice to everyone, including people with difficult personalities. No, that's about these people taking the path of least resistance and denying the real pain and harm that has come to others who have been harmed by people with these personalities. And it's not okay. I recognize after looking at those comments, my work is cut out for me. And people who are trying to heal have to recognize that there are going to be many, many hazards in the road. First, I got sad, then I got angry, and then I made this video, actually. So, like I said, I'll read those comments only on occasion, but what it showed me was not pretty, and it was the idea that there's a lot of people out there who feel like, you know what, you're just going to have to put up with those difficult people, that's how it is, and stop waiting for empathy. I'm sorry, but I can't get behind that. Thanks again.